So we are back. Yes, we've not all converted to rugby, egg chasing as it were, despite some very interesting quarterfinals, but we're not here to talk about rugby, we're here to talk about football, and indeed anything and everything Arsenal. We are back after a short hiatus, after the international break. We're going to cover the United game, we're going to cover the Watford game from last night, and we'll be looking forward to the Bayern game on Tuesday night, I beg your pardon. With me once again to discuss everything on the agenda, Mr. Diamond Jack.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Arsenal podcast, again, and I hope everyone enjoyed the interlull as little as I did.
Yeah.
Really boring, wasn't it? Rubbish.
Largely.
Well, I don't even know why they put them in the middle of the season now.
It's annoying, isn't it?
Really annoying. The fact that we had that amazing win against Man United, and all we want to do is push forward and keep playing and keep the mindset of the club still going and stuff, and then we have to break for international.
Well, perhaps, but on this ever increasingly roller coaster like Arsenal journey we're all taking, of so many ups and downs, then perhaps we were just as likely to, if there was a concurrent game, if we'd have played Watford the weekend after, maybe we'd have lost.
Maybe.
I mean, unlikely, but So I take your point, but I think basically when you're more excited about other countries than England.
There you go, club before country every single day of the week for me. But it was interesting watching Chile, obviously, because of the Magic Man.
Despite injury,
well,
and he
can play one leg, mate. He's that good.
Indeed. Okay, so before we move on to Watford, let's talk about United game.
Oh yeah, let's talk about United. Yeah,
we can't not talk about it really. It was just such a pleasantly surprising performance.
Everyone thought we were going to get battered.
Yeah.
Every single person before the game going, oh, if we come out of this with a 2-1, we'd have done well. And then we just started brilliantly, and
you could tell there was something different from the off. The tempo's there, and that's never there against United, really.
Well, it's a combination of both that the tempo is never there, and United never really looked that open. They came and they wanted to play. I mean, they're not a side to sort of sit back and really absorb a lot of pressure, but they have been doing that against us in the last couple of years, absorbing pressure and then hitting us on the counter attack. I remember was it the quarterfinals or the semi-finals? The quarterfinals of the Champions League when we played them, and Ronaldo just tore us apart when he was doing that. It was the one good game he had against
semi-finals.
Semi-finals. Yeah, semi. And he played against us, and he tore us apart that day. The first and only game that he played well against us, Manchester United, I will maintain personally.
Interesting comment.
But it was such an amazing day all round. You can look literally front to back, and every single player stepped up and was counted for. And that's all. That's all as football and Arsenal fans that we want and ask for. I thought that the real standout performers obviously were Alexis Sanchez. Was what else can you really say about the guy? He's just an absolute phenomenon. He really just is. Already for me, I've said it before, one of my favourite players of all time. Already, Sanchez. He's just amazing. But just not even just his ability to score amazing goals. I mean, the first goal, the flick at the near post, is just so cheeky. You know what I mean? It's such a Sanchez kind of thing. And then the second goal, the one where he's curled it round. I mean, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. It's not like he's doing it against Paul Robinson or anything, or Robert Green or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's curled it round De Gea, and it made De Gea look silly. And it was just amazing. And then you look at other players like the other stand-up performers like I almost called him Thierry Henry.
Theo Walcott.
Theo Walcott,
nice.
Yeah. Brilliant. He drops into midfield, won the ball back off Schneidlin, or Schweinsteiger even, which a lot has been made of, obviously. But just brilliant energy levels and brilliant ability. Didn't score obviously, but you know, I don't think necessarily when you've got other players that can put the ball in the back of the net like we have, you don't necessarily as a striker need to be scoring all the time. But when you are in a difficult situation, maybe if it was 1-1, you'd be looking at someone like Theo Walcott to try and pounce and get us a goal, you know, when we need it. And then obviously, you know, you've very subtly there alluded to another person who played particularly well against Manchester United was Mesut Ozil, and that's it, right? This is what me and Paul have been saying over the last couple of weeks and months, is that when he turns up, when he actually looks like he cares, he can do that kind of thing. He can absolutely 100% turn a game on its head. I still don't particularly like the way he plays football, personally. I don't really feel that it's something that I've been brought up to necessarily feel is a fantastic, you know, way of playing the game. But you've got to say that his goal he took very well, and he created a lot of chances for people, and that's all you can ask of him, you know. And he did again play exceptionally well, and you know he is one of these players that can do that. But again, the critic in me of him is, does he do it enough? And I don't. And the answer for me is obviously no, he doesn't do it enough.
Wow, for £42 million, perhaps not. Yes. Yeah. So it was just a thoroughly, staggering performance.
It was
really,
and that's the word for it. It's staggering. You know.
I'm a little bit. Well, not annoyed, but I'm a little bit saddened that we didn't really just go and destroy them. But
I know what you mean. We were in the ground and we were saying, you know, we really need to put the sword to these lot. But you know, you saw in the second half that they came out a little bit more and they wanted to play a little bit more, and you know, they were going to go for it no matter what. And
I think what happened, it was when Martial had that chance right before half time and Czech made the save, and I think Wenger's was a very good save, and Wenger was like, right, okay, we're 3-0, let's not just go, we're in control, let's go mad, which is pleasing to note, because you know, we've been 3-0 up before and he's not sat back and we've just gone for it, i.e. Anderlecht last season, for example.
Monaco.
So, and then in the second half we showed a really resolute defensive display. Gabriel was really good on occasion.
I really like him, Gabriel. I really, really like him.
I think if he grows, he could be really, really decent.
Me too. I think he could be a really, really capable defender. I think the two fullbacks as well. I mean, Monreal is just, I wouldn't swap him for anyone at the minute. And Bellerin, similarly, I just wouldn't swap
He's just
for anyone.
a little superstar.
I mean, I knew that before he came into the first team, I knew a lot of people were talking about him.
I tell you what, I watched him at Underhill once, and I knew he was going to be something special. And not because he's got that, you know, that Barca DNA.
No, but I did see him again. I think it might have actually been against Tottenham that I saw him. And him and Gnabry played in the same side, and both of them looked and Eisfeld as well, I think.
Tom Eisfeld,
yeah. And all three.
That old chestnut,
I
crikey.
know, bless him. Where is he now?
I'm not sure. Germany, I think.
I think.
No, it was Fulham. It was Fulham, wasn't it? Yeah.
But all three of them really stood out, and you know, you look at players and you go, well, you know, maybe one day if the circumstances right and that kind of stuff. I just can't see how Debussy's going to get back in the team.
No, well, I asked the question to, I think, one or both of you last season, who's the best right back, and it's hands down, it's Bellerin.
Hands down.
Bellerin, even.
It's staggering how good. I mean, for a kid as well, for a, you know, to coin an American term, for a rookie to come into the side like he has. I mean, there were instances where at Watford, just to, you know, maybe jump forward a tiny bit yesterday.
And let's talk about Watford.
Okay. Well, there were instances yesterday where the ball was played through, and he, you know, and the forward is breaking towards goal, and every single time Hector caught up to him.
Yeah.
Every time it was astonishing, like his performance level. And I thought he played very well against Manchester United, but Let's talk about Watford. Yeah, let's do that.
No, well, let's stay on Bellerin.
Okay.
He's the most creative player in the Premier League, and again he showed that tenfold yesterday.
He did. He was just
assisted Ramsey.
I mean, he's just amazing. I'll ask you. Can you identify another right-sided player like that who you swapping for? If not even in the Premier League, even in Europe.
I mean, Lahm, but
I mean, Lahm's very good, but he's 31.
I like but he doesn't have the. Yeah, I mean, I like what Bellerin is, and this guy could lead us into an era of just being.
He could play for us for at least another 10 years, at least. He's that good. He could, and obviously the problem surmounts then.
Boss gum digging.
Are we gonna keep hold of him? And obviously Alves is.
He's not got. Yeah, he's on the wane very much so.
He's on the way out and all that. But I just love him. I think he's fantastic. And again, you've got to say it. Nacho Monreal, what a player he's turned into. From where he was, especially, he couldn't get a decent bit of criticism from anyone. He's now 100% for me the first choice left back. Which is
hands down.
Which is astonishing.
Has been for a year.
But it's even astonishing to think about that he's even, for all the great left backs we've had down the years at the club, including Ashley and Silvino and Gar Clichy, who was, I've just started reading Amy Lawrence's book at the moment. Who you forget that Clichy was an invincible, and
yeah.
All these amazing players, even going back into history, and
Gio, Van Bronckhorst, Silvino,
Lee Dixon,
Winterburn.
Winterburn. I always get them two mixed up either side, but it's just amazing how he's just fitted into that particular role and gone from there. It's staggering because I just genuinely didn't think he was going to make it. I didn't think he was good enough, and he's proved me wrong.
He's not a big name, is he? But then that's sometimes.
No, but sometimes you're right. It plays into your hands a little bit because you don't expect how, you always forget how good they are until they turn up and make a 30-yard dash to get back and then put a challenge in, win the ball from behind and turn around and play the ball up the field. You know what I mean? And that's genuinely what he does. And people sometimes overlook it, but I just I need to there's an almost need to say it, is that he's just done so well recently.
Yeah, I think it was a point that Paul made in first of all that when Monreal had that little session as centre back when we had that defensive crisis, when he moved back to left back, he was defensively far more sound.
That's actually a really good point. I think
it's a very good point.
Yeah, I think that he's obviously learned from that role in there, because I don't think he necessarily played badly in the centre of defence as well. He just isn't naturally that type of player. But he's really pushed on and become a fantastic left back. I mean, again, is there anyone out there who you'd swap this for? I don't think so, personally.
Alaba probably. Maybe, that would be it.
But, even then, maybe I haven't seen enough of him. But
I'm going to name every Bayern player in this podcast anyway, so don't worry about it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's move on to Watford. I mean, how did you feel it went?
I mean, I texted you after the game. I said just very happy with the performance, like especially in the second half. I sort of had one eye on the first half, but the second half I saw most of it, and it looked like we were struggling to break them down. And when we got the first goal, we were fine. But then from that point on, we dominated the ball. We kept the ball.
Yeah.
And Watford have only conceded one goal at home all season, and then we're going three.
Right. And people were a little bit frustrated at the first sort of 60 minutes. Obviously, I was in the ground as well yesterday, and people were getting a little bit frustrated about how the lack of movement, and
it's a small pitch. It's Vicarage Road,
and the potential lack of defence cutting passes and that kind of stuff. But
that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at Vicarage Road.
I don't think so. And someone raised the point. A really, really good point is that it doesn't matter where you go. it is an away day in the Premier League. It's the toughest. It's so difficult to get a win on the road in the Premier League now because all teams at home want to, especially the teams down there. It's the old adage: you've got to win your home games, and if you don't, you're going to go straight back down again. And Watford were really, really good yesterday for an hour. They were really good, really disciplined.
I tell you what, in the time between the start of the second half and an hour, they were really having a right knock, and I was thinking the Vicarage Road crowd were getting up, and it was
it was like being away at Bayern, Borussia Dortmund. It was mad. Flags going.
You've got the right colours.
It was all the flags going and everything. I was trying to raise safety concerns with the stewards so they could take all the flags off them.
Well, be careful, what happened last time.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, I don't know if it was intentional, but they turned all the lights off in the second half as well. Just had the floodlights.
I noticed that.
Yeah, they got all the cell phones out and they were waving the lights of the cell phones, which was a little bit hilarious. It looks like we were at Live Aid.
It's probably just to detract from. Don't look at the floor, lads.
Yeah.
It's a state.
So then we after Sanchez scored, we all started doing it in the away end, taking the Michael, as they say.
Nice.
It's hilarious.
Okay. So it was good to see Ramsey score.
Yeah.
After wasting another chance in the first half.
Yeah, he's is it rustiness or
I don't know. He's done well in his new role on the right, clearly for now anyway, and he's played well since he's been up there, and he's got the goal, and I think hopefully now.
Yeah, there was that one against Man United obviously the week before where Aaron Ramsey 2 years ago would be burying those every single day of the week. But there's one last week, a couple of weeks ago against United. There's one yesterday as well. Yeah, he did score, and it was a good goal. I thought it was a good finish. He just sort of dinked it over Gomez, didn't he?
Yes.
Ramsey's goal, yeah.
Well, it deflected.
Yeah.
Gomez, yeah.
I really like Aaron Ramsey. I really, really like him. I really like his tenacity, and he's just a fantastic old school British footballer. I feel like I just need a little bit more from him. I know that he doesn't want to necessarily play out on the right. I know that, and I don't even necessarily think it's his best position. But until we have a situation where either Cazorla or Coquelin can't play in there. Unfortunately, and Arsene wants him to play. He has to play on the right, and again, for me, not necessarily you're ever going to really see the best of Aaron Ramsey out there, but it's horses for courses at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, completely. So Henry today said in the press, or in fact it was last night after the game on Sky, he said that we can win the league. I'm not sure yet. I think.
Well, we can win the league, mathematically.
Absolutely, mathematically, yeah.
We can win the league, yeah, absolutely. We have got as much of a chance as win the league as anyone else out there. However, we are a team that is so confidence-based, it's untrue. It literally feels like everything has to sort of go our way, and we can really go and do big things. Do you know what I mean? This league is very, very unforgiving when it comes to that kind of stuff. You saw against Chelsea, our backs were against the wall, and unfortunately, it didn't really happen for us. You saw in the Champions League against Olympiacos. Again, backs against the wall a little bit. Got an equalising goal, fell by the wayside again. It just feels a little bit like we need to man up a bit and take games by the scruff of the neck a bit more. But genuinely, I do think that we could do something this year. I mean, I think this is going to be the best opportunity for us to do something in a long, long time, and coming up for a long, long time as well.
Why do I get a sense of deja vu?
Well, yeah, exactly.
You said it. It's our best chance ever. It's our best chance.
And it is. And we've got a team, and we've got a squad now, which over the last sort of, let's call it 6 years, 5-6 years, right? I would have this squad over every single one of those other squads, including the ones with Van Persie in them, including the ones with, whoever Fabregas, whoever you like in them. I would have
Sorry to carry on.
No, go on.
I just want to. It feels like there's more of a balance to this side.
That's exactly it. I think that this is more of a team as opposed to one superstar and 10 individuals.
It's not a team in the sense that they don't really. I don't get the fact that they really want to fight for each other. Not in an old school Arsenal sense, but there is more. There just seems to be more of an equilibrium.
I think that there's definitely something to that. I definitely feel like they trust each other and that they want to play for each other. Unfortunately, Theo came out and said, the United response was for the manager, which I don't think is necessarily the best thing to say. Obviously, he said it's for us too, but he said, it's for the manager, and he was getting criticism and that kind of. I don't really subscribe to that belief personally. I feel.
No, this is for you, Theo. Fucking excuse my language. Get on it.
Once you've got to play. You've got to play your game. You've got to not listen to what anyone else says. Believe in your own abilities. Because what happens if he has a murmur and has to go into hospital for 6 months? What happens then? You playing for the manager then, or do you play for the person who comes in the interim role? Or obviously very hypothetical, very extreme circumstances. But
this is for the manager that's going to drop me in the next game.
Exactly, yeah. and the manager who's still looking for a striker, and keeps telling me I'm going to play up front week in week out for Arsenal. You know what I mean? And I just. It just frustrates me that they even come out and say that. It shouldn't be just about him. It should be about wanting to go out and prove a point to people and lay down a marker and genuinely make other teams worried, because I do feel that teams are worried about playing us from about 6 down. You know what I mean? All those teams are very, very worried about playing us. From about 6th to 3rd, they're a little bit less worried, but they're still a little bit worried because obviously with the Arsenal we can turn up on a day, and then from 3rd up it's us, City, and is it United are in 3rd at a minute?
Yeah.
We'll give United a spanking, but it's a very, very poor United side, I personally feel. And
I completely agree. Yeah.
City, obviously they were without Silva and Aguero at the minute.
So unpredictable they really.
They really are. They could they could turn up to 8 past you, or they can roll over and concede 3 goals in 20 minutes. They are just that inconsistent at the minute.
I mean, for me, the Premier League now has turned into the Championship. 'Cause apart from Villa and Sunderland, who couldn't beat a team of blind 60-year-old men. Yeah. At the moment, and if Villa sack old agent Sherwood and bring in, say, David Moyes from Real Sociedad, or
Brendan,
or Brendan, absolutely, or Dick. I don't think Dick will go to Villa. I think it would be very silly to go to Aston Villa. He certainly wouldn't get flowers anyway.
No.
from Villa fans. So yeah, anyone's capable of beating anyone, and. When teams like Newcastle United, who are still a pretty big team in my eyes, even from the days of, they've descended a long way from the team of the 90s, which I love to watch in Europe, Bobby Robson team. And when you've got a player like Wijnaldum, who scored 4 goals, albeit against an away Norwich side, it shows anyone can beat anyone. And
it's a great league. But
it's a fantastic league this season, I think.
I just think that hopefully there'll be a case where some teams like the likes of Villa and Newcastle, hopefully they go down just because teach them a lesson or whatever. And it's a long way to go, and Aston Villa fans are generally miserable anyway, so compounds more misery onto them. Wonderful. But I think that you can say that the league this year is fantastic. It's a really, really competitive league. Leicester are defying all odds as well, but now they're just starting to realise, oh no, we're actually in the Premier League again.
Well, yeah, but they're still refusing to lie down. At least Jamie Vardy is.
He's a very talented kid, isn't he? But anyway, yeah. So I think that while the league again is a lot more competitive this year, unfortunately, for some reason, it seems to have a detrimental effect to the teams in Europe as well. we could be in a case where all 4 teams to qualify for the Champions League this year don't make it through to the quarterfinals.
That's. You mean even the last 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real possibility of that. I mean, I don't know about this whole golf in Europe thing. I think it's just the way that football is turning into it. Apart from, Bayern and probably Real, they're the 2 real bench, and possibly Barcelona. But I think Barcelona aren't. They're beatable as well. As they in their state they have been. Without Neymar and Messi and Suarez, etc. But outside of, we'll see. We'll probably know a lot more after Lewandowski scores a double hat-trick against us.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, I think you say that as well, but you're right. But even Juve last year's beaten finalists, they're not a bad side. And you look at the calibre of people that have played the English teams and beaten them. People like Porto and other teams that are in Man City's group.
Well, Porto, I think, a real dark horse for me this season, because they've got a young manager who's I think brought up on the philosophies of Mourinho at Porto in 2004. Good. He's got a really good side there.
Spawn of Satan, then.
Yeah. Sorry, Jack. So I think Porto won to watch this season. My little tip there.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think there's way too much being made of this golf. I think there's just a lot of teams that are closer to each other, and it's good for me. The Premier League, it won't be beaten for entertainment value. It's the best league in the world. It's not the highest quality in the world. I think the Bundesliga and the Spanish and the Liga are far better technically. I had a blazing row with the Liverpool fan about Liverpool being vastly inferior, technically to most teams in Germany, and I was right and he was wrong, but he wasn't prepared to step aside. Surprise, shock horror, a Liverpool fan, eh? Yeah. So okay, right. So going back to the league, so 6 goals, no concessions. Good. I think looking ahead, Everton at the weekend, so we don't get any injuries after Everton have been, pretty convincingly beaten by United at Goodison. And then it's Swansea on the road the following weekend, which normally is a tough game, but considering the way Swansea playing, if we don't get 6 points from 6 games, I think I'll be a bit disappointed.
Again, it's just dependent on which Arsenal turns up, though. Because, Swansea will raise their game against us. We always seem to have problems with, big, tough strikers as well, and that,
Ashley Williams.
Ashley Williams is a good player as well, but, that Gomez as well, he hasn't necessarily been, as prolific as he was at the start of the year, but, historically we've had issues with big, tough central forwards like that in the past. Everton, bit of an unknown quality again. I just think that Martinez, he sort of knows the philosophy around Arsenal Football Club, and he knows that the way we want to play, and he knows exactly how to disrupt that as well. Again, people like Lukaku and Naismith and Pienaar, and even Aaron Lennon, if he gets a bit of an opportunity or something, or Barkley as well, another one who's not necessarily really massively performed at the minute. If they step up, it'll be a cracking game. But I just, it's exactly what we don't need after the game on Tuesday, unfortunately. Again, just for me, I personally think that Bayern are better than the Barcelona teams that we beat a couple of years ago at the Emirates.
They're pretty incredible to watch. I mean, they're an incredible lineup. I think they're without, at the moment, Robben's going to be out for Tuesday, but I don't think that's great news. But then they've still got Douglas Costa, and who's come in and just lit up Bayern's game.
He's absolutely on fire, the kid. And I know that people have been sniffing around him for a while as well, which is
United were a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I've seen him at Shakhtar, and he's never really done anything to really...
No, and that was strange. It was a strange situation with him being at Shakhtar. Because I remember he's the one who used to have blue hair, didn't he? He used to have like blue
briefly.
Yeah, and always thinking he could be a player. That kid, he could really be a player if he gets the right move. And he's gone to Bayern, and to be fair to him, he's just electric at the minute, isn't he?
And all credit to Pep for waiting at the right time to pluck him away. I think it cost 21 million euros. I think.
You know,
which could be a flipping bargain, yeah. Yeah,
peanuts. And obviously the man in form at the minute, Lewandowski.
Mr. Levy.
He just terrifies me. He just absolutely terrifies me. He could.
The best striker in the world right now for me.
Probably. I mean,
I don't think there's anyone better.
He's definitely the most informed striker in the world at the moment. But he just scores so many different types of goals as well.
Yeah, he scores out of nothing. The goal against Scotland, I think it was. No, it was Ireland.
Ireland, yeah.
The chance was half a chance. He controls it, and it's like he didn't even control it. It came right to him. It's like a 15-yard header.
Yeah.
And he's just
amazing. The geezer. He's genuinely just so talented and such an amazing prospect, and it made you laugh. You know, we were linked with him in the summer, potentially pry him away from Bayern Munich, but you know, probably added another zero on the end of his price.
I think briefly, you know, he's unsellable for Bayern. I think he's probably worth about at least 60 million, 70 million.
He's so good, and then you know the you know, once you've got through their whole team and you've broken past the centre halves, you've got the best goalkeeper in the world.
Who at the moment is, you know, he's proving to be slightly not as infallible as before.
He is a cyborg,
you know, he is. No, he is a cyborg, but I don't think he's in the form of the last of his World Cup.
You know as much as anyone that, you know, as a goalkeeper, if you are not in the best form, it's not like a striker where you're just not scoring goals and, you know, someone else can chip in for you. You know, if you're not
but true, but I mean, he doesn't. He's been conceding goals. You know, that's not necessarily his fault, but it's the defensive unit as a whole have been conceding goals. I mean, how they lost to Scotland.
True, true. But also, have Bayern have won 9 out of 9 so far, haven't they?
Yes, something like that.
So.
And unfortunately, when a game, I watched the Bayern against Dortmund game, and I thought 2-0, it's over. Dortmund came back, and they could have equalised. Aubameyang could have equalised, and then they go and tore them up, basically. So Mr. Lewandowski did.
They're just that good, yeah, to be fair with them. What about Ribéry? Is he in?
No, he's out as well.
Good, wonderful.
Then he doesn't really been part of the Bayern setup, the Bayern makeup, really. It's been Costa on the right, Lewandowski, and then depending on whether Müller plays as a centre forward or as one of the three behind the lone striker, and then Costa, and then so many combinations. Alonso, they could play Alaba as a left centre back with three at the back. Boateng.
Götze, is he going to play or?
Yeah, I mean Götze could play. They've so many options.
It's a bit terrifying, isn't it?
I mean, before we talk about Bayern, I want to we'll come back to that in a minute. Just to say, if you want to contact us, you can on Twitter at eArsenalNet, or one word, and we have the Facebook page. It's the eArsenal Facebook page. You can just Google that, and you can contact me or Paul, obviously, or Jack. Sorry, Paul's his ghost. His not ghost, but his presence is clearly being felt, even if he's not here.
Absolutely, not his ghost though.
No, that's even though he's ill, I think that's a bit. But yeah,
I wouldn't accept that diagnosis.
Sorry, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're going back to the Bayern game. I mean, how can we win? Like, we've got no points on the board in Europe.
No.
Part of me wants us to get steamrolled and lose both games, because I don't think, because by then if somebody or both of Zagreb and Olympiacos could have 6 points, which means we'll almost certainly be out of Europe altogether.
I never want us to lose a game, obviously. However, if it's a choice between beating Bayern twice and going into the Europa League, or getting hammered 8-0 and then 7-0 out there, and going out and just concentrating on the league the FA Cup and the League Cup, that one every single day.
If we did manage to manufacture, well, perhaps not just one result but two results, I think it would, going forward in Europe, and if we did qualify, I think it would be quite a turning point, possibly, because Europe is, I mean, depending on how you see this Arsenal side, you know, without Wenger's, should we say, tactical nous, Europe has appeared to be the stage where we performed and yet not. So,
well, Arsenal's never won a European trophy.
No.
So, you know, and people say,
but it's always felt, it's all, you know, not just the 2005-06 year, but it's always felt like that it's been kind of our calling, but it's never really happened. Perhaps not really when you get to the knockout stage and we just completely fold
it's
like a pack of cards.
Though, Neil, it's a complete cup competition, and anything can happen in cup competitions. Now, obviously, we've been in this cup competition for, you know, joint longest with Real Madrid that we qualified in it. But, you know, what does that mean, really? What does it? It doesn't mean anything. You don't get a medal for that. Like, you know, it's not like, you know, sports day. You don't get just a medal for turning up and competing. You have to win the thing, or at least get to the final. And you are right. I don't think that we have performed well. What we've done is we've underperformed in the Champions League, massively, severely underperformed. We should have got to at least another final in the time that we've been in the Champions League. But circumstances arise, and you get up and you move on from it. Again, I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't care about the Champions League anymore, really. If you win the league, then you go into the Champions League anyway. If you don't win the league, you shouldn't go into the Champions League, for me, plain and simple. But, you know, we're never going to get that changed again. But I just think that, again, I don't ever want to lose any games with Arsenal, and I'm sure 99% of Arsenal fans say that as well. But I think going into the Europa League would be a massive blow.
Yeah.
Be a blow.
Agreed. I'm just looking at Bayern's lineup against Werder Bremen yesterday.
Okay.
They played a back four, although Rafinha, who is recovering from injury, I think he got booked and then he got replaced by Kimmich.
Okay.
So that means they're playing Boateng and Alaba at centre back. There is the option of playing Javi Martinez. So Costa runs on the bench, and I'm seeing that Muller got substituted half through the game, which I'm wondering if that's an injury. Which if they lost Vidal, not Muller, Vidal. If they lost Vidal, then that's kind of interesting. But you know,
doesn't matter, mate.
It doesn't really matter, does it?
It doesn't matter. Bless your heart for being as optimistic as you are, but it doesn't.
No, look, I'm not optimistic, but part of me wants us to get hammered, but I'd like it to be a close game. I don't want us to get annihilated, and it would be just like us to, after having just two shocking performances defensively, and to go and, if not beat them, then
we could draw 0-0. We could draw 0-0 both games and still finish bottom. You know, let's do that. Compromise. We don't have to lose.
I just don't think we can keep Muller and Lewandowski quiet. I really don't.
You know, it's going to be very difficult. But
is there any way we can beat them? That's what I was going to ask you.
Is there any? Yes, there is a way we can beat them. If Santi Cazorla goes out there with a machete, that's the way we can beat them. Or, you know, if we do everything that we did against Manchester United plus 10% more, that's it. You know what I mean? You know, closing down, harrying play, don't let them play their own game. You know, get the crowd excited, get the crowd up and singing, and play to our strengths. You know. And
I think for once, when we play a big team, really top draw team, we're going to have genuine width with Bellerin.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's something that we wouldn't have had before.
Mm-hmm. But also, you know, make sure the movement's there as well, though. Not just camped outside their area. You know, because last time we played them, we should have been 1-0 up within, you know, minutes. When Ozil missed the penalty, we should have been winning that game. So we need to start exactly like that. We need to come out of the traps flying, give them no time on the ball. You know, Coquelin needs to be absolutely humongous in this game. I'd love to. I keep saying it, but this is again the way I was brought up playing football. I just love Coquelin to steam into Lewandowski in the first minute and let him know he's there. Well, you laugh, but it'd be absolutely brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Just to see it, get everyone rolled up. You know, get everyone singing. Even take the yellow card. Have to play 89 minutes with it on a yellow card.
I tell you what. Coquelin needs to be. He needs to have a rocky David Rocastle like performance.
Yeah, man. That's what it is. That's what it is. He needs to be an absolute hero that day. They all do. But again, I don't necessarily. I'm not massively confident in it, and also I want us to do well in the league as opposed to the Champions League. So I couldn't give a toss, basically.
Honesty from Diamond Jack. There.
That's all you get from me, mate. Is honesty.
Okay. All right. So before we go, let's talk about the AGM.
Okay.
A little bit. Any points you want to raise from that? Obviously, I saw that. Goodness me, Alicia Osmanoff wrote to the club requesting, well, an answer why £3 million was released to Stan Kroenke again.
Pay for a new yacht.
It's definitely, yeah. Apart from that, any other issues you want to raise from it, the AGM?
Chips Keswick, he's an idiot, the geezer. He's, you know, I don't understand all this thing about the owners of our clubs historically viewing supporters as a commodity or as almost like a byproduct of the football club. I genuinely believe, Neil, that if they could, they'd shut the doors and play behind closed doors. I genuinely do, and just have them film it on telly. Put it on the telly. And it's a subscription-based thing. You have to buy in to watch the game, like pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely feel like that's what they want to do.
We'll all have. There'll be like 60,000 tablets, and our faces would appear on them. Yeah,
absolutely. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. His comments about, you know, the club and the running of the club. I thought one thing that was interesting was Arsene talking about his potential future at the club.
Yes, well, I was coming on to this.
Do you give it much weight?
Well, a little bit. I know it's. I think the Mirror ran it, didn't they? And I know John Cross is quite close to the club with everything.
He says he is.
Yeah, he says he is. But I kind of, you know, he's never one to break potential transfer rumours. But then that's not necessarily his job to do. But I don't know. And 2019 sounds, you know, his contract is going to be up. It does sound to me like Wenger seems to be sort of trying to go for it a little bit more. And if he is tanking in Europe, as I suggested he might be, then he might realise, look, you know, I've got 2 seasons here. This is probably the best chance this season to win the damn the Premier League crown again. Not big ears, it's European Cup. Maybe both. That'd be nice. Optimism. Yeah. So the thing is about that, I'm looking at, you know, our worst nightmare came true with Jurgen Klopp going to Liverpool. Yeah. And Ancelotti's about, but now I think Bayern are hunting them because they think Pep's going to go to Man City end of the season. Yeah. And so a season later, who's going to be left to manage, big name enough to manage to take over from Arsene Wenger?
Owen Coyle.
I don't
know. It makes sense, but what also makes sense is the board offering him another contract. And I'll keep saying it until he's officially, you know, retired or moved out of the club or whatever you call it, or resigns or whatever. If they can offer him another contract, they will always do that for me.
Yeah, but my concern is who's going to be there. I mean, I talked about the Porto manager, and I wonder in 2 years' time, depending on how he's done and if he's available, that if we then might go for Julian Lopetegui for them then. I know that's, you know, it's 90 months away, but who else would be available? Maybe Van Gaal will be sacked, but they'll want Van Gaal at our club. Christ.
I think he's actually going to retire as well. from what he said.
That's true. Yeah, he said he's never managed a club longer than 6 years, and he's not going to start now. I think that's his words.
And I think that unfortunately the age of managers being in roles for a long time is now quickly evaporating from the game. I don't know, Neil, to be honest with you. We'd have to wait for another year to see who's about, who's free, who's available.
Mourinho?
No, absolutely, 100%. I swear to God, I would tear this tattoo off my shoulder within 10 seconds of that being announced and burn the Emirates to the ground.
After we've won the European Cup?
No, it doesn't matter. We wouldn't have won it with him at the helm.
No. I just wonder if that's a likely scenario. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Look, you know, I'd always wanted like someone like Frank Rijkaard or Frank de Boer and Dennis Bergkamp to come back. I mean, that's the dream for me, is Frank de Boer
and Dennis Bergkamp to come back to manage a club.
Would be
incredible.
But you know, we'll see. Again, you can't. I don't think you can make decisions, you know, at this point in time, because I genuinely feel that if Arsene still wants to carry on, they will offer him another contract. I do. Because you know why. This is one thing that hasn't been said yet. You know why he spoke so well at the AGM, don't you? It's because he's a professor of economics. That's what he does. That's what his PhD or his doctor or whatever his qualification is in. You know, that's the subject it's in. So he should be very good at articulating about finances, about, you know,
completely, yeah.
Absolutely, you know, economical states of companies, and comparing them to other organisations, and everyone's come out of it going, Lord, where did Arsene learn how to talk like that? Well, that's what he's about, you know.
Yeah.
And everyone came out of it, and everyone was well impressed. John Cross gave him a 9 out of 10, like they were rating the AGM now for some reason. Yeah, it was. I just couldn't understand why people didn't see that, you know, and didn't see that that's what he does. That's what he's fantastic at.
Yeah, can you not see this is a meticulously planned event that happens every year, but it takes 2 months in the planning. But he's ready for it. He's like a walking notebook.
Of course, that's it. He's like a dictaphone. He just remembers everything. You know, every number of. That's why he's a stats man as well. You know, as like your good self, you love a stat. Like it's just. But I don't. Again, for me, I don't necessarily think that this game of ours can be quantified so much in tiny little stats. You know,
No. Well, I've already said. I've said every time. You know, I've written about stats a million times, but stats are overrated.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? But I genuinely don't know whether he's going to be here afterwards. But that's my feeling, is if they want him here, they will offer him a contract.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't know. I feel like if we talk about, you know, Wenger's not right for this club anymore, then we'll just all go insane.
That's a whole other can of worms, mate. For a game after we lose a game, we've won 2 on the bounce. We don't have to talk about it at the moment.
Not for a whole month, I would have thought.
When we lose again, then we can start saying it's not the right man for the job again. Hashtag Wenger out.
I never do that. I hope you don't.
Nah, it's nonsense. Because again, I say again, you know, I'm one of these people who want him to turn it round. You know, I genuinely do. I genuinely want him to identify and see what the error of his ways are.
Right, can I just say that's not how you sounded a couple of weeks ago?
No, it's because that I'm frustrated. Because I'm upset with him, because I know how amazing he can be as a manager. You know, I genuinely do. And it's frustration because it's getting to the point where everyone in world football can see what the problems are, and the only person doing it is not addressing it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the frustrating part. And again, I genuinely want him to turn things around and say, do you know what, I am being a bit of an idiot here. Here's £60 million for Sergio Aguero. Or, you know what, I am being a bit of an idiot here. Here's £49 million for Luis Suarez 2 years ago when he was at Liverpool, and we offered £40 million and £1.
And £1.
It's insulting. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. Or look at someone like Ivan Gazidis and go, Ivan, okay, I know you've come in as my boss, but what we're going to do is I'm going to identify the players that I want and that I need, and you're going to go get them for me. Just like David Dean used to do, and you're going to go and get them for me, so I don't have to worry about that. And as soon as they're available, you let me know, I'll talk to them, and we'll get them signed up, and that's the way it will be. And I genuinely want that to come back into him, but I don't know if he wants to do that anymore. And if he doesn't, it's very sad. And he wants to win by some other proxy, win by some other, method. But I just don't know if everyone is behind that as much as they were with the last kind of method that he used.
What's that I hear in the distance? Ah, yes, the sound of another cracked record.
Yeah, there we go. It's genuinely like that, and it's unfortunate, but for the meantime, he's here. The club is second in the league. We've got a real shout of winning something again this year, which no club is entitled to. Remember, no club has the divine right to win anything every single year. We know that more than any other leading club in the country. But if we do things correctly and we go about the things correctly, and the right amount of effort is put into every single game that we go into, we could seriously do something this year if all those factors go into place.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just to say, just around this whole shebang up, I think Wenger's changed quite a lot, and I don't think it would take somebody monumental to come in and if he wants to be that person, to fight, to be the scout, to recruit these players and say, here's my list, you go fetch, etc. He's not a dog, whoever that's going to be, obviously. Okay, that's I think we'll wrap things up there.
Groovy.
And before we go, I'll get a prediction for the Everton game. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0. Everton, we're at home, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay. Bayern?
17-0 Arsenal.
Yeah.
Come on!
I will go...
Come on, just say it 6 minutes, it's fine.
I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2?
We can't stop them scoring, but I think we've got goals in this.
Ozil both? Ozil all 4. 2 own goals and 2 actual goals for Arsenal.
No. I think
he tries to do a back heel and it just goes through Czech's legs.
Like a 50-yard back heel.
500-yard back heel.
I think Alexis will score. I think Theo will score.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-2. And unusually for this podcast, that's me ending on a optimistic note.
Hooray!
Hooray! So you can get us on the Facebook page, the Arsenal Facebook page. You can get us on Twitter. Jax, what is your handle for
My
us,
Twitter
please?
handle is @diamond__Jack.
Thank you very much. I've been Neil, your host. You can get me on @the91st Neil. That's @the91 STNEIL. And we'll be back next Sunday, after the Everton and of course the Bayern game. See you then.
Come on, Arsenal.